All right, next big trade. Anthony Davis got traded to the Washington Wizards alongside Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, Dante Exum to the Wizards for Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-round picks.
I love this for the Wizards. It seems like if you would have told me coming into the season that the Wizards and the Jazz would expedite their timelines, I would have been very confused. And I actually really like this because they got Trae Young. They went out and got Anthony Davis. And they pretty much just said, hey, we done losing. And I think that's such a great mentality to have. And I think Anthony Davis comes in and he could fit perfectly along Alex Sarr and Trae Young to where he doesn't really take away. As long as he's on the court and he's being productive, Anthony Davis gives you all NBA type of production. And I just think he's the perfect guy to have next to Alex Sarr to where, like, you can have a twin tower type of look, but they both complement each other in a way to where they're not hindering each other.
Small, I think it's funny, though, that both of those dudes don't want to play center.
Yeah.
It's like one of y'all.
But the Wizards made it clear that this trade is because they see Sarr as a force, so Anthony Davis is going to play some center. For me, I think when you buy in on talent like Trae Young and Anthony Davis, these are the situations that I think are more plausible to bring them into instead of like those win now teams, because you put so much pressure on those guys being a specific version of themselves. Now it's like, we want you to come in to help these young guys and to make life easier for them in the course of their development. But also, if you can still be that all-NBA productive player, we're going to let you do that as well. But we're not heavily relying on Anthony Davis to carry the Wizards. We're not asking Trae Young to, like, drag us through the mud. It's to make life easier, and it didn't cost anything. And we had an episode, I think, last week where we talked about front offices or grading them and ranking them. And I made sure to include the Washington Wizards because they have been cooking for a while now. But to see them, like you said, Derek, execute going to get Trae Young and now Anthony Davis, it makes me proud that I was giving them the flowers even prior to the trade, because this team, to me, I like this team. I can't wait to see what this is going to look like. And you also have the possibility that Trae Young will take his time the rest of the year. Anthony Davis will be able to heal and take his time the rest of the year. So you still won't win games this year, and you'll get your last swing
at a top pick.
And if you're able to walk out, hypothetically, with the number 1 overall pick, and now you're talking about Darren Peterson within all of this, man, Washington is going to be up.
It's kind of crazy we got to wait
with another number 1 pick.
It's kind of crazy we got to wait a whole year to see this team on the court together.
But again, what Pete said, there's no rush. So Anthony Davis could rehab as much as he wants, and you can kind of try to bring him in next year as healthy as possible. Health is still going to be a concern no matter what for Anthony Davis. He played limited games for the Mavericks, and he had a couple injuries. So, again, I want him 100%. I want him ready to go. I like what Pete said, too, where we're not leaning on him every single night. He's going to be heavily featured, and he's going to have his games, but we don't want you to break your back out here trying to get us these games.
Yeah. I agree with most of what y'all saying, but I'll wait till after the break to tell you what else I think. Stay tuned. Jumping back into the conversations about Anthony Davis being traded to the Washington Wizards for nothing and a couple potential picks, like the 30th pick in this year's draft and then something. I really love it from the value aspect of it for the Washington Wizards. You don't give up your own picks. You don't give up any of the young players that you care about, and you bring in an all-NBA caliber player when he is healthy. The one thing that scares me, and I'm about to play both sides because that's kind of the way I look at every single trade. The one thing that scares me is that now with Trae and with AD, it limits like some of it now says like, hey, Trae Johnson, you're a shooter. That is your role on this team. Keyshawn George, the on-ball touches that you've been having this season significantly drops. And I kind of been liking the development of a lot of those younger dudes, and now they're kind of contained within the role because a guy like Trae Johnson, I'm going to specifically talk about Trae Johnson because he's the one that I'm most interested in this. He's now behind Trae Young as far as touches goes, Anthony Davis as far as touches goes, and Alex Sarr as far as touches goes. And this offseason will probably determine, is he behind Keyshawn or is he, on the same level as Keyshawn? And obviously he's one of the best shooters in this class, so maybe that's just what his role will be. But like the 6th overall pick, I don't want him to be almost exclusively a shooter, right? But on the flip side of that, it's been 9 seasons since y'all have had a 500 record. So I understand telling your fan bases, hey, man, we gonna do something for you. AD, when he plays, we know how impactful he is. Him and Alex Sarr on the back end, golly, we might have a top whatever defense just based off that alone, even though we got Trae Young on the front side. So, I mean, That's why I understand it. I like it, but I do have my reservations. Well, like some of the other trades you may talk about, I'm like win-win, full win-win. This one maybe not as win-win as like A+ trade for me.
Yeah,
But
I don't see that. Yeah, 'cause
that's what I was about to say. I don't really see that because I also think the right coach coming. I don't know if it is Brian Keefe or not. If they're going to move forward with him, but the right coach coming in and putting the right offense where everyone is featuring, the ball is moving, and like you get everyone to buy into a team system. Trey Johnson could still have his touches. Keyshawn George could still have his touches. And then that also gives Trae Young the ability to do stuff off the ball sometimes, where Keyshawn can now be the ball initiator and like he's initiating the offense.
In year 10 of this.
Yeah, I know we're in year 10, but like at some
point,
point, Trae Young, this is no longer Atlanta. This isn't his team no more.
I won't go as far as what Derek saying as far as coaching, because who knows what that's going to look like. But I think these situations weren't astronomical investments to where it's like, Trae Young, this is your squad.
Yeah.
I think these are buy low situations where the team can get better, and these are two vets that can help those young guys grow as players. Because I mean, as good as these guys are, none of us are projecting them to take over the NBA and be top 5 players in this league. But I do think some of what Trae Young can do will help because we've seen teams where you do have a Trae Johnson, but there's nobody there to help him be the player who he is. And some of these players, that's not who they are. So they shouldn't just be out there just doing whatever the hell they've been doing, because we've seen that not really. Like Bilal was able to do that. Like, what did that turn into? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of examples.
For me, it's more about like having the opportunity to do it. Like Bilal had 3 years, and then we found out that's just not him. We basically get a season of Trae Johnson of doing that, and then now he snapped into it. Another thing that I have my reservations about.
That's also not a fact, though. He still can be.
Yeah, we speculate.
Yeah,
we
he
speculate.
still can
I don't know
be,
what the hell's going to happen in a
He
year.
still can be. Because if the only way a player can grow is by just having 30 shots and
But I'm not even thinking that either, though. Yeah. I'm thinking about his pick and roll usage. I'm thinking about all of these things, and I think that objectively just will be less next season. It's just going to hurt his development.
Yeah,
but also, it just also generates easier looks. Having AD and Trae
I
Young.
would not.
If that
he's
was what
going
they-
to get open 3-pointers all season long.
If
for
that
sure.
is even what they projected for him.
Yeah.
Because again,
You're our draft guy. Did you project him to just be a shooter? No, right? We want.
No,
him to
he's
get
a
a
top
lot
shot
of
taker.
I don't think he's a shooter. I think he's a scorer.
Right.
And I think he'll still be allowed to score. But I didn't look at him as like I didn't see this trade and was like, oh man, it's gonna hurt him.
I'm viewing Trae Young as more so like the connecting piece, and
Does Trae Young see himself as a connecting piece?
I mean,
he's had the
what
highest
kind of-
uses in the NBA, top 3 highest uses his entire career.
Now those are the questions that I'm down with. But I don't.
But at the same
I don't know
time,
how invested the Wizards are into making this the Trae Young.
We will find out.
Anthony Davis
because my
show.
next reservation is that both of these dudes are wanting a contract.
Yeah.
Yes,
And I like
exactly.
the idea of acquiring Anthony Davis without giving him his extension when he's 36 years old. That is the next thing for me.
Yeah.
The
Because
lucky
this could
part,
be a trial.
It could be.
I
Hopefully-
think
I
both
hope
of these
they
dudes have
looking
to
at
go
it
out there
like
and
this.
like prove for that extension.
Because I like the idea of them being more of a bridge than the overarching guy. We get
Exactly.
2 years of Anthony Davis. He's going to be 36. And by 36, his body already break it down to 34. By 36, we might just say deuces.
For sure.
I would just be so scared for them to give him any level of extension. Any team, really. I would rather all 30 teams just let Anthony Davis play out his contract, let him hit the market, and then we find out what he is. But obviously, Rich Paul and them don't play that game.
Yeah.
They like, we want to
Will
know.
Dawkins and the Wizards front office have done, in my opinion, too good of a job to let it all go to waste because they want to make this an Anthony Davis, Trae Young team in 2026. Yeah. Me personally.
Yeah,
And also, we still don't know what the pick is going to be.
Right.
Because if Darren Peterson comes in, I'll let you know right now, this is not going to be an Anthony Davis, Trae Young show. I'll let you know that right now. This is not going to be that. He is going to get developed, and he is going to do what he needs to do to be the player that people project him to be. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Darren Peterson is not going to sit in the corner for Trae and Anthony Davis pick and rolls. Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Yeah, I didn't get no feeling that they were going to be overwhelming on the team. I got the same feeling as y'all. I think the key word is bridge. Like, they're connecting. They're trying to
Hopefully.
They're trying to win now, but they're also trying to still develop their guys. I didn't kind of see him as getting in the way. I think regardless, back to what P was saying about like Trae Johnson, he's going to get his stuff out just regardless, I think, at this point. And having a guy with Trae Young has been able to elevate just players around him in general. As long as he can just be the connecting piece and we're not relying on him to do his 25 points and to shoot, 15 to 20 shots. He's just got to be aggressive, but mostly just get everybody involved. He's got a bunch of weapons he can find, and he's one of the best passers in the league.
I think one of the next steps in this development for this young core was to play competitive basketball, even if it ain't necessarily like, because I think some people jumping off the bridge with like they're gonna be like a 5th seed. I ain't saying that, right? You know, but I do think like we've seen some really good stretches from them throughout this season where they've had close games and they lost. But maybe the next step is for them to be in some more close games or consistently in close games and learning how to win down the stretch and maybe playing in a play-in game or having some type of playoff atmosphere. Because like you said, it's been, 8 years, 7 years?
Yeah.
Like, it's been a long time. And we've seen these guys take exponential steps for the most part. Sars look like a totally different player. Keyshawn George just look amazing. You love the season that Trey Johnson is having as a rookie. And so, yeah, this is the next step, is to play competitive basketball.
Hit subscribe for more news, highlights, and analysis from the NBA on NBC.